Alright, probably in that discussion, pretty lively discussion, you probably covered maybe the next section that we're going to look at. In this area, the Valley of Death, then, there are various symptoms, common symptoms, and some people have some of these. I feel sorry for the poor bugger who has all of them. Probably not. But let's go through them, and as I said, maybe you've already discussed some of them. Excessive concern. Okay, actually one thing before we do. We're talking about culture shock. So, I was in China in 2001 for 4 months teaching, and I had a bit of culture shock, nothing like, migrating, but I could feel it coming on. I'd had it once before when I was in Latin America for 6 months, and it's usually about the 4 or 5 month mark I feel this coming on. So I felt the same kind of feelings. I thought, yeah, here it is again. I didn't think I was going to get it, but I did. And I thought to myself, I need help, But we were in this town. No one had ever seen non-Chinese people. We were the first Westerners ever in this place, and there was no other resource. So luckily there was the internet at that stage. So got on the internet, Googled culture shock, and read a few things. But the thing that helped me most was one single phrase. What is culture shock? This is what struck me, anyway, and helped me kind of understand. I don't know if it does for you, but it did for me. That was the definition. Culture shock. An excess of the new. Now we all like a bit of new. If we don't have new, it's kind of life's kind of boring, isn't it? See a new movie, buy a new dress, whatever, meet a new friend. But 80%, we kind of like, depending on your personality, even 40%, you like a stability that you can come back to. And a certain percentage of the new, certain percentage of the old. When you're in a new culture, it's like almost 100% new, isn't it? Just about everything is new. The food is new, certainly the language around you is new, even the architecture is new, the animals are new, the sound of the birds are new, everything, I noticed about buildings, like China has those sort of white and blue tile rooms and, tiles on the floor, and just visually for me, because I'm a fairly strongly visual person, it was just new, and I was getting overwhelmed. And a lot of that's unconscious. It's happening without you realising, but you're just kind of getting filled up with new, and your brain, poor little brain, only wants to process so much new stuff, and so it reacts in various ways. A lot of these things are understandable, I think, if you think of it in these terms. That's why, for me, it helped unlock the problem. If we take the first one, it wasn't how I reacted, but I can, again, the logic is clear. Why do people get obsessive? It's like this one. Obsession, I wrote it somewhere here. You get stuck on one thing. Some people, if only I get good at English, I get good at English. Or, I've got to get a job. Or I've got to keep my house clean. Could be whatever. But people get obsessive. And why? How does that work? Well, it's a logical reaction. If everything is bombarding you, then you shut down and you focus on one thing. That's psychological protection, isn't it? That's why some people decide, it's kind of like withdrawal, but not kind of physically. You might actually be going out, coming to English class, I've got to get better and better at English. But on a psychological level, it's kind of like a withdrawal from all the other stuff, you're blocking it out. So that's one way. How do you deal with this excess? Some people get obsessive. And maybe you recognise that for you. Other people, withdrawal. That could be physical, or it could be psychological. You could be sitting here, but you've withdrawn, at least comparative to how you were previously. So it's not just physical, it's emotional withdrawal. Or, I'm helpless, and become dependent. become a bit more childlike and, you know, people come look after you, you need that kind of help. Again, if you do that, you're sort of giving up. The excess is bombarding too much, kind of that idea of just giving up. And it's easier to cope with, that excess. Getting annoyed at lots of things. Because really, you're filled up with the new, you can't take it anymore. Any little extra, you know, triggers a little bit of anger. If you're bombarded by the new, it's pretty hard to focus. Some people have that problem, focusing. It's almost the opposite reaction to that. These people approach the problem by focusing. Someone may react by just getting lost in that newness, the noise of the new. This one, kind of like a withdrawal, isn't it? Thinking a lot, looking back, and psychologically going and living there in your head and your heart. And again, that blocks out the new to help you survive. It can manifest, that word again, show in the body. It's sort of goes sleep somewhere. You know, it can be this kind of thing. Too much sleep, or more sleep than usual. Problems getting to sleep, insomnia, it could be skin problems, stomach problems, headaches. These are the common things. Back and, you know, body aches and pains. What else? Any other stress reactions?
Somatization.
Eh?
Somatization.
Yeah, exactly. Soma, body. Somatize, bringing it into the body. Yeah. In English, we tend to say psychosomatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Psychosomatic reaction. So, psycho is the mind, soma is the body. So, the mind influencing the body, a psychosomatic reaction. So, sorry, other?
Depression, hopeless.
Yeah, depression would be purely psychological. So, I guess we can put that on. I guess it's sort of here, isn't it? I'd probably put it sort of in there. It could be just this. Boredom, you know, a way of blocking out all of that coming in. You know, I can't take any more of this new language. I've had enough. That was my reaction, actually. I'd put a little mark there. I actually went to Latin America to learn Spanish and get better at it. I went to China to kind of learn Chinese, and I threw myself into it so much. I think I overdid it, and I got excess. I filled up too quickly, and I got to the point, I just don't want to hear this anymore. You know, I don't want to see it. You know, and yeah. So that was one of my problems. But you know, nothing engages you anymore. You just feel flat. Nothing triggers interest. We've covered that already, covered that. May come out in dietary forms, eating and drinking. This is typical regression. I mean, you think of the baby sucking the thumb, you know, Freud said when some people, you know, have a trauma and they regress, and if they're oral people,
Fixation.
yeah, they'll fixate orally and, you know, suck the thumb, or, you know, if they don't suck the thumb as an adult, they'll eat. It's basically, you know, or smoke, you know, they're satisfying themselves orally, or denying it, you know, it might be weight loss. This one, we talked about the rejection and the criticism, you know, and it's a way of pushing away that thing that's filling you up too much. Oh, you know, bloody Australians, they do this all the time, forget them, you know, I'm going to forget, sort of trying to get to know them or whatever. Or bloody Australians are also lazy, or they're also rude, or, you know, God, they're inefficient, this government, you know, every bloody Centrelink office I go to. Probably true. That one is pretty big, I think. More just purely psychological, but lack of confidence about abilities that you might have felt pretty solid about before, and now in the new context and in the new language, difficult. And that, you know, okay, I'm here, and all this newness, in that newness, who am I? You know, I used to be this, am I that anymore? Many people have left fairly high status jobs, or businesses, or you had quite a solid position where you were previously, and now you're in a very fluid state, aren't you? And you've got a lot less to define you, or you've had to accept a job that sort of has a lower socioeconomic status, at least for a period of time, and that kind of gets at you, and challenges your confidence and who you are. So obviously language affects, certainly, confidence in language use. So there's the list. It's a little bit different from this. I've used this, but I've collapsed a few things, like there was homesickness, homesickness and desire for home, friends. I thought that was the same. A couple of others were the same. Oh, I just added, they said weight gain. I think, from my experience talking to people, it can go the other way too. So a few little changes. What we could do now is I want you to have a look at the list. Again, you don't have to discuss anything that you don't want to discuss, Just discuss the stuff you're comfortable with discussing. But for you, out of that list, what are your top 3? If you've got 3 votes, say you've got 3 votes, you can put a vote there. We're going to have a class vote in a minute. Like I would say, I'd put 2 there, and I'll put 1 there. So you've got 3 votes. I used to get annoyed kind of easily at little things. So, glazed stare. Somebody just kind of looking out the window, glazed like glass. Now, I haven't seen too many people doing that, luckily. But I think what they really mean there is, sorry, I missed it, this one. Poor concentration. Yeah. So take out glazed stare and put a more general point. Poor concentration. So, I used to be a really good student, I could focus. Now, I don't seem to be able to focus. That's a common problem. It might be that for you. So my point is, you got three votes, right? And you're going to come up in a while, 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, after discussion. Have a listen. Shh, guys, just wait, please. I want you to be clear on the task. As I say, you got 3 votes. You can come up and put them up, and it's kind of like a survey. We'll see what are the dominant problems for the group. Part of doing this is, one thing that helps alleviate, when you alleviate a problem, you soften it, you make it better. Just the fact that we're all kind of together discussing this, hopefully, if you haven't thought about this pathway before, it might be a model that helps you. But the other thing is just sharing things and realising, actually it's happening to me and it's happening to, 2 other people as well, or 3 other people. It's not me. It's actually the whole context. Back to the idea of context shaping things, And there's this tendency to feel, what's wrong with me about a lot of this? And it's not really what's wrong with me, it's the difficulty of the context, isn't it? So just coming to that understanding has its alleviating effect. So sharing these ideas, the more you're willing to share, the more you'll help others, I think.
You have to choose just 3?
Yeah, would you like to choose more? 13?
We have 4.
Let's do it.
Can we put 2 for the second?
I'm just picking 3 out of the bag. Do you want more? Do you want more votes? Do you want more democracy, do you? What do you reckon? We'll arrive at a common thing. So, Ahmed, you're going for 4, are you?
Yeah.
Alright, we want to do 4? We'll get lots of stars. Alright, 4. That gives people a little bit more freedom. You can put 4 all on 1.
Yeah.
You can put 1 on 4. You can put any combination you like. Okay, we'll go 4 if people make people happy. Alright, what I want you to do is look at your list. Use this list rather than that list, but mark it on yours. Where are you going to put your stars? And then share it with your group first, right, for 10-15 minutes, and then we'll come and put them up on the board to see what kind of result you get.
Yeah.
Go for it.
For you.